Hello everyone, welcome to SR Technologies. As part of AWS Free Course, today is the day 5. In day 5, I will cover AWS Lambda, both theory and practical part. If you want to understand AWS Lambda, you should know about AWS EC2 instance. If you don't have an idea about AWS EC2, please watch day 4 video. In the day 4 video, I clearly explained what is EC2 and how to create EC2 and how to work with EC2. Both theory and practical part I covered in day 4 video. And also I suggest you to go through that video without fail, because it is a very, very important service in AWS, because that is a server. Without server, we cannot do anything in any project. That is the reason. If you want to work with AWS, you should have an idea and you should know how to use AWS EC2 and S3 and VPC on all these services. That is the reason. Please go through it. Yeah. Before starting today's session, please subscribe my channel to get more technical videos. Also, please like and share these videos so that it will reach more people who wants to learn AWS with free of cost. Fine. Coming to today's session. As I told you, if you want to understand, please learn EC2 instance by watching day 4 video. Why? Why means these two services are belongs to same compute category. What is this category? Category means, I'm not going in depth in this part. This is the terminology. Just don't worry about this AWS or any terminology. Going forward, you will understand automatically. Fine. Now, if you see the AWS services, there are a lot of services are available in AWS. EC2, Lambda, S3, EBS, VPC, security groups, NACLs, and CloudWatch, route tables. A lot of services are available. If you see EC2 and Lambda, EC2 is a virtual server. Where we will use server? For what purpose we will use server basically? Basically, we will use server for compute purpose. That is the reason EC2, Lambda belongs to compute category. If you see S3, EBS, these are the storage services in AWS. That is the reason we can call S3, EBS, these are storage, these are belongs to storage category. If you see VPC, security group, NACL, these are network category services. Those VPC, security group, these services belongs to network category. Fine. So here, if we take compute category, if you see AWS EC2 is a virtual server. Without server, you cannot do anything in any project. That is a basic infrastructure requirement. Fine. Just to make you understand what I will do, I will just compare AWS Lambda with AWS EC2. Then you will easily understand this. So that is the reason. See here in AWS Lambda AWS Lambda theory part, I will explain, simple explanation I will give. I'm not going in depth in here. That means this is enough as a DevOps engineer. Okay, in DevOps point of view, this is enough. And real-time examples. That means where we will use AWS Lambda, where we will use AWS EC2. That use cases I will show you. I will explain. Fine. Go to next slide. Here, in this session, today's session, we will learn what is AWS Lambda and why serverless. This is the serverless service. Lambda function is a serverless service. And why we'll call serverless, we will see. And Lambda versus EC2, I told you, I will explain that. And how Lambda works internally, we'll see how it will work internally. And triggers and components, how it will trigger. And I will show you practically also. So real-time use cases, where we will use Lambda, where we will use EC2, we'll see that. And limitations. There are some limitations for AWS Lambda. So what are those limitations also we'll see. And when to use Lambda, this is very important. That means both are belongs to same category. In day 4 video, I told that, so wherever you want to compute for something, you can just use EC2. But here again, I'm telling Lambda also belongs to compute category. So that means you should have a clear idea. Where should we use EC2? Where should we use Lambda? And who will decide to use Lambda or EC2 on all these things? Fine. Don't worry. I will explain each and everything in simple way. Please watch the video till the end. Also, don't forget to practice this. Fine. See here, problem before Lambda. That means if you want to understand, Lambda, or if you want to understand the advantages of Lambda, how we used to work only with EC2 instance, we'll see here. See, running small tasks required. That means if you want to run a heavy application, big application, so you should use EC2 instance. There is no option. That is a virtual server. Based on the application size, you can select that a configuration of that EC2 instance and you can use it. Fine. Here, forget about Lambda. Before Lambda, we have only one option, EC2. Even it is either for a small application, small piece of code, or big application, or anything. For that, we need to launch EC2 instance. That means we need to create EC2 instance. We have seen already in day 4 video, EC2 video, how to create, how to launch. And installing OS and packages. OS means operating system. Without operating system, you cannot work with server, any server. Even in EC2 also, we should install OS. But here, no need to install separately. When you are launching EC2 instance, you can just select that operating system image. We have seen that also clearly. And packages. That means if you want to run any Java application, you should install Java as a prerequisite. If you want to run or if you want to open any .NET application, you should install .NET software or whatever. Those are the prerequisites. Packages you need to install. And in EC2 and managing scaling. That means based on the load, you need to scale up the environment. That means, for example, today load is heavy for your application. You should increase the number of EC2 instances. So then only that load will be balanced. You can balance the load. So once that load reduces, you have to scale down the environment. That means you have to tear down that EC2 instances. You have to stop that EC2 instances manually. Fine. Even you can just use auto scaling also, but here, and paying when idle, paying even when idle. That means, for example, if you are using EC2 instance to run one application, for example, you are working for a Flipkart application, even though if nobody is using that Flipkart application, you should keep that EC2 instance. You should keep that EC2 instance in running state. That means AWS will charge for that. Either application is running or not, but you should keep that server running always for 24/7. For that is the reason they will charge, and you should pay for that. So the paying even when idle means that is the one. And again, maintaining security and patches. That means security. Security is very, very important task here. Also, whenever the server is up, that is your responsibility to make it secure. And also patches. Patches means for operating system and applications. So we'll be doing the patching activities. So usually OS teams. So for example, it is that EC2 instance. See, whenever you are using EC2 instance, you will not use single EC2 instance. Multiple, some 100, thousands of EC2 instances you will be using. Just that patching activity, operating system, OS teams will be working, or applications teams will be working. Sometimes even some kind of patching will be done by the DevOps team also nowadays. Don't worry about all those things. Just concentrate here. And so these steps we need to do for any application. If you want to run in EC2 instance, that is okay. So there is no way. We have to follow these steps if you want to run in an EC2. But if you want to run very small code, that means if you want to run piece of code, that means some very less amount of code, it is a bit difficult to use this EC2 and installing to create EC2 and launching. Not difficult. Instead of creating EC2 and instead of installing OS and packages, managing scaling and scale down, scale up and scale down, and instead of paying, even though it is idle, you can just go with a Lambda. So these steps are not required if you want to run a really small piece of code. Instead of using EC2 instance, you can just go with the Lambda. If you use Lambda for this small applications, you can reduce the cost. That is the main thing. That is the main goal for any DevOps engineer or cloud engineer for anything. So always client will expect to complete the project, to run the project with a low cost. So that cost optimization is very, very important in a DevOps point of view or cloud team point of view. You can do that also. And you can just avoid this kind of security issues and the patching activities and all these things. And paying even, see, you no need to pay for the Lambda function if there is no usage. Even for EC2 also, whenever there is usage for EC2 instance, you have to pay for that. But here, whenever you are running the code, then only Lambda will start and running. So that we will see. Don't think of much about that. Yeah. Why serverless? Why we will call it a serverless? See, you should not confuse here. I told you that EC2 and Lambda both are belongs to compute category, and we will use EC2 Lambda for both for same purpose. But I am telling EC2 is a virtual server, but Lambda is a serverless service. What is this? So concentrate here, you will understand easily. Lambda is serverless. That you will understand in next slide, next to next slide, I think. Now, if you use Lambda, since it is a serverless, you no need to create a servers. That means just sometime back in previous slide, we discussed we need to launch EC2 instance. We no need to do all those things. No need to, if you use serverless, if you can use Lambda, you no need to create a servers. That means no need to create a EC2 and no need to do this operating system updates and no need to scale down and scale up manually, and infrastructure thing you no need to take care. So automatically Lambda will start and running. We will see that AWS handles everything. Okay. Yeah. Now, if you watch from here, you will understand very clearly. So where we will use Lambda and where we will use EC2. See here at very high level, I will explain first Lambda versus EC2. EC2 is a servers because it's a virtual server and manual scaling. Just sometime back I explained. If you want to increase the number of EC2s based on the load, you have to create EC2 instances again and again, manually or by using autoscale, and pay per hour. So this is, see, for example, if you use 10 EC2 instances for 5 hours today, you have to pay for 5 hours. Either you use it or not. If you keep running that EC2 instance, AWS will charge you. Fine. If EC2 is in running state, AWS will charge you. That's it. If you want to run any application, you should keep that EC2 in running state. So there is no other way. So that you just understand it. And Lambda, no servers. That means here, if you want to run any application, you no need to use EC2. You no need to create EC2. You can write a code to trigger Lambda function. Whatever task you are doing by EC2, you can just do it by using Lambda, by writing the code. And auto scaling will be there. And pay for milliseconds. That means Lambda is, you see, if you want to run any application with help of Lambda, you no need to keep Lambda in running state. Whenever there is an event, that means event driven also, that you will understand in some time. That means if any customer click on that application, if any customer using that application, then Lambda will start. As soon as that task is completed, then Lambda will fade off. Lambda will go down automatically. So that means if it works for milliseconds, AWS will charge for milliseconds. So in this way, we can reduce the cost. And EC2 long apps. That means for big applications, I told you sometime back. So for big applications, for long applications, you will use EC2. And Lambda, short tasks. So simple tasks, we can use Lambda. Right. And here, EC2, when you need servers, we'll see. EC2, full OS level control. See, here, if you want to use EC2, full OS, that means complete operating system you need in that EC2 because it's a server, and install software. You need to install software, Java, .NET, or as per the application behavior. That means as you record, you have to do that. And long running processes, so it will take a lot of time to do all these things, and continuous operations. That means you have to work continuously, you have to monitor continuously the EC2 instance. If you create EC2 instance, you have to monitor that EC2 continuously. Then if we come to Lambda, event-driven compute. What is event-driven? What is event-driven? See here. Yeah, what is event-driven? Lambda runs when something happens. S3 upload, API request, SQS message, cron job. Here, I will explain this part in a whiteboard. So these are the main features. There are a lot of features, but we're going to take all the features in this example. Yeah, payment gateway. Fine. If any customer logins to this Flipkart, for some customers, it will ask login credentials. For normal users, it will not ask. So directly, as soon as you just type flipkart.com, you can just enter into this Flipkart website. Flipkart website will be open. Now, customer will go to search and he will just search for his product. For example, you need any mobile phone or something, Samsung mobile phone, you will search for that product. And once you select that product, once you confirm that product, you just add that product into cart. Once you add that product into the cart, if you want to purchase it really, if you have to pay the amount, Fine. In backend mode, in background mode, this search will be running in some servers, and this login module will be running in some servers. So this is search engine, we will call it. And cart module will be running in some servers, and payment module will be running in some servers. Fine. See here, if you use EC2 instance for this or for cart, for anything, what will happen if any customer use this cart or not, if any customer use this payment or not, the server should be in running state. EC2 should be in running state. If you stop this EC2 instance, this payment option will go down. Payment option will not work in Flipkart. So that is the reason you should keep on running this EC2 instance. Even though if there is no customer is using payment option, it should be running. The AWS will charge for that usage. Fine. Instead of EC2 instance, if you use Lambda function here, Lambda here, what will happen? As soon as customer click on this payment button, this Lambda will start. As soon as that payment is done, that task is done for this user, this will go down. You no need to pay for that. Just it will work milliseconds or seconds. Just make the payment. Then for that usage only you have to pay for it. If you want to use EC2, you should keep running that EC2 for 24/7, then you have to pay for that. So these are the major difference between EC2 and Lambda. That is the reason we will call Lambda is a serverless. Again, if you see here, how Lambda will start and work, how Lambda will come to know. For that, you have to write a code. You have to write a code either in Python or Node.js or Java or something. I will just explain. I will just show that. Okay, fine. So this is the major difference. At a very high level, I am explaining this. Just a difference between EC2 and Lambda. So especially in microservices, it will be useful. Yeah, now I hope you understood the difference between EC2 and Lambda and where we will use Lambda and EC2. See here, if you read here, you will understand now. If you want to use EC2 instance, just to explain this, I explained this, but again, I'm just showing you. So you have to install software and you have to install operating system and all these things. Just if you want to run that payment method in previous example in this easy. But if you use Lambda, you no need to do all these things. So that is the reason I'm showing you again and again. Okay, fine. Now, yeah. Next one, Lambda, event-driven compute. What is event-driven compute? Event-driven compute means in the Flipkart example, whenever the payment option requires, whenever customer click on that payment gateway, payment option, that Lambda will start and work. So that is event-driven. Fine. Lambda runs when something happens. Same thing. I've just explained. No, something happens means if somebody clicks on that option, so Lambda will start and work. And S3 upload, even you can just integrate that Lambda with S3 and API request and SQS message and cron job. Cron job means, see, for example, if you want to run on code for any particular time period, for example, every day at 1 a.m. midnight 1 a.m. if you want to run, it's very difficult to wake up and run that code in midnight. So instead of doing that, instead of waking up and instead of running in midnight, you can just integrate with the Lambda. So using cron job or something, then it will start and run automatically. Okay. Yeah. Now again, event occurs. How Lambda works? Event occurs. Just sometime back we have seen execution environment created, handler runs, execution completion. This I'm not going in depth in this video. At the end of the course, I will make one more video with the detailed Lambda functions. That means, so how really we will use Lambda. That means it doesn't mean that, so this is not a real use case. This is also a real use case. But in DevOps point of view, this is enough. So if cloud architecture point of view, I will show you at the end of the course in real life project, in real time project. Okay, all these things. Yeah, key components of Lambda. Code. If you want to run any Lambda function anywhere, you have to write the code. And runtime, handler, memory, timeout, triggers, IAM role. So I will show you that. Okay. Supported languages. Lambda will not support for all languages. Just it will support for Python, Node.js, Java, Go language, the Ruby, these languages only. Yeah, even in practical session, I will show you. It will be there. And Lambda triggers. Lambda triggers, API gateway, S3, just under Mac, I've told you, and DynamoDB, event bridge, lessons. Don't think much about all these things if you are a DevOps engineer. Don't think in depth, because most of the times we will be using EC2 instance, but some cases only we will use Lambda. Trust me. And if you are a cloud engineer, or if you are a cloud architect, please wait for a few days. I will make another video with the complete stuff of Lambda. You will just understand better. And CloudWatch. CloudWatch means this also, again, if you want to run in any particular, if something happens, CloudWatch will be monitoring any other services. That means by integrating with CloudWatch, you can do that. Yeah. Use case one, S3 processing. See here, S3 Lambda. If you integrate Lambda with S3, so if something happens, any data upload or something, so then if you want to start Lambda, then you can just do that. And use case 2, API gateway. Then what in this microservices, usually we will be using this Lambda very frequently in microservices concept in project. So there also will use. Okay, fine. Event bridge. So don't think much about all these things. And if you are a DevOps engineer, in practice, you will come to know. Event bridge, Lambda, daily reports, cleanup, and backups. See here, daily reports will be done on regular basis, even cleanup and backups also. Instead of doing manually, instead of doing by using EC2 or something, you can just integrate Lambda by writing the code. You can just do that. Okay, fine. So you can just make that work easy. In this case, in this use case, fine. By running cron jobs, we will be doing. Okay, fine. Yeah. Advantages. Pay for use. Same like a EC2. Same like a EC2. We can just use, see, for example, if you use EC2 instance for 5 hours, you have to pay for it. Yeah. Cold start and warm start. I'm not going to cover in this video. Same thing, pay per use. As per the usage, you can pay. Auto scaling. So auto scaling will be implemented easily, and zero server management. That means you no need to create a server and you need to pay for any server. And AWS integration. AWS integration very easy. That means Lambda will not work alone. You have to write the code and you have to integrate with other AWS service. So then I will show you that in practical session. And highly available. So there will be no outage or these things. It will be available. So that is the reason we can just call Lambda is a very high available service in AWS. Yeah. Limitations. So there are some limitations also. Otherwise, everybody will use Lambda instead of EC2 instance. So how AWS will get profits? No, that is the reason. So there should be some limitations. See here, 15 minutes timeout. So it will be timed out automatically. So that's again, that is something like a tricky concept. I will just explain that, how to do that in next video. Next video means in that part 2 Lambda video. Package size limits. So package size also, as when I was explaining that EC2 difference between EC2 and Lambda, EC2 instance will be used for longer applications, whereas Lambda will be used for a limited size applications, and ports are not for heavy compute. The same thing. And when to use Lambda. So whenever you want to automate the process, you can just use it. And for short jobs, again, same thing, short code. And APIs, microservices, low cost workloads. Whenever you don't want to expand much, whenever you want to reduce the cost, you can just go with Lambda if it's suitable. Okay. And when to use EC2 instance, longer tasks, heavy compute, full control, custom software. We discussed already. And summary. So finally, you can just conclude like this. Lambda means it's a serverless plus event driven. Serverless. That means you don't need to create a server. You don't need to install operating system, and you don't need to install prerequisites like Java, .NET or something. And also event driven. Whenever it requires, it will just start and it will stop. It will work and it will stop. But in case of EC2 instance, whenever you want to stop, whenever it's not required, you have to stop EC2 instance manually. Here, not like that. And auto scaling, so it will be increased number of instances as per the load automatically, and pay for milliseconds. Pay for milliseconds. So that means you can just reduce the cost in this. And EC2 needed for long and heavy tasks. Again, same. Yeah. Thank you. And now we will start practical session. In this practical session, I will show you how to create Lambda function and how to use it. Please watch the video till the end, guys. Any video, then only you will understand. And also, if you don't practice, you will forget easily. Okay, please watch the video once, and second time you just watch only practical session you want, you just practice it. If you have any doubts, please mention in a comment box. I will respond you personally. Okay, let us start practical session. Let us start practical session of AWS Lambda. As I told you sometime back, in this particular session, I will not go in depth in Lambda practical part. But I will show you how to create a Lambda function and how to connect the application from the browser which is using Lambda. But why we will not go in depth in this particular session is, if you want to understand all the use cases of Lambda, you should have a clear idea about some CloudWatch and other services. So that is the reason I will clearly show you with all the real-time use cases at the time of real-time project. So after completion of some services in this course, I will be showing a real-time project with real code in this AWS Free Course. So that time I will show you clearly how to use Lambda in your real-time projects. But as a DevOps point of view, so today's session is enough to attend your interviews and to work with your real-life projects. Let us start. Let me log into AWS console. Yeah, open a browser, and guys, I've already showed in all the videos how to log in AWS console by using your root user. Now, this is my AWS console. If you have any doubt how to log in AWS console, you can just go to EC2 video or S3 video. You can just see and you can log in. Yeah, this is our AWS console. Go to search and Same like other services, you can just get Lambda by giving Lambda a name in this search bar. Yeah, you'll get this. Just type Lambda in the search bar, you'll get this. Lambda. Just select it. Now, yeah, see here, create function in orange color. You can just select that. See, there are three options here. One is author from scratch. We are going to use this option. And yeah, use a blueprint. So what is this? Build a Lambda application from sample code. If you have any sample code, you can just write a sample code. If you don't have, you can just use it. And container image. So to use this, you should have a image in this container, your container registry or any other registry. And anyway, we are not going to use these two options here. As I told you, I'm not going to show all the options in this session. In future session, I will show you all these options. Don't worry. But in DevOps point of view, so whatever we are doing, that is enough. Yeah, fine. See here. Let it be author from scratch and function name. Just give a function or Lambda, Lambda function or Lambda is anything. So I'll just give srtech demo1. So you can give anything. Now, see, what is this runtime? Here, we have already discussed in theory part that Lambda will not support for all the technologies, all the programming languages. Lambda will support only particular languages, that is Node.js, Python, Java, C here, .NET, and all these things. So it will not support shell script and all other things. Yeah, let us just select this Python. Or Node.js also is okay. Now, just click on this create function. Additional configurations and those things we're not going to see here. Networking. In networking VPC, if you want to create this Lambda function in any particular VPC, that means any custom VPC, if you have your own VPC, you can just select it. But here we are just using, if you don't select anything, by default, it will use default VPC, same like EC. Fine. Now, I'm not going to select any of the VPC because I don't have my custom VPC. You also just don't select anything here, but I don't think you have custom VPC. Let it be like this. And function URL. Function URL means if you want to log in the application from the browser, you should have this URL. So right now, I'm not going to enable it. We'll see what happens. Just see here. Select this create function button. Now Lambda function will be created. Here in this Lambda, if you want to use all the options, you should have a clear idea about some other services like a CloudWatch and other services. Even Python also a little bit you should have. See, let me just close it. Yeah, fine. See here, srtech demo1. This is our Lambda function name. See here, this got created. And there are two options here, add trigger and add destination. What is this? See here, add trigger. Add trigger means, see why we will use Lambda function? Whenever there is some event, so Lambda should start and work instead of EC2. So that means where to trigger. So what to trigger? So there we have to use some code to trigger this Lambda function. For example, if you see the Flipkart example, which we discussed in theory part, if any user click on the payment option, Lambda should start and work. Just to start, something should be there to trigger. In that case, we have to use it. But 100% we should use this. Otherwise, there is no use of using Lambda instead of EC2. But in this particular session, we are not going to use that because before that, I should teach something in the next session. As I told you, I will show you that. Fine. Now, just we will create a simple Lambda function and we will use it. And now, see here, code. There is something code here. Sample code has been given by AWS here. See, hello from Lambda. That means if you use this code, this will be displayed in your screen. If you want, you can just change it also. I will just change like SR, hello from SR Technologies. Whatever string is there, it will be displayed if you connect to this application. Fine. This, after that, click on this deploy. It will be deployed. Fine. Now, we're not going to see these options. Just go to configuration. In this configuration, see here, function URL is not there still because I did not enable that function URL till now. Now go to configure and general configuration, triggers, permissions. So permissions means if you want to give any particular permissions to any users or something, then you can just go with this. And the destination also we're not going to do now. Function URL. Click on this function URL. Create function URL option is there. Just select it. And again, it will just ask you function URL authentication type. That means if you want to give this access, if you want only particular users to access this application, you can just create a IAM role and you can just use it. But now I will just give to everybody. If you select this none, it will be public access will be enabled. That means anybody can log in this. If you want, you can just read here. Lambda won't perform IAM authentication on request on your function URL. The URL endpoint will be public unless you implement your own authorization logic in your function. That means, so it will be public. Publicly will be allowed. Yeah, fine. Now, yeah, save it. And yes, now just click on this URL. See here, allow from SR Technologies. So this is the string you have, this use of that code. This is the way to connect. Now go to this Lambda function and this, once you practice, just delete it. Click on this and delete function. Again, it will ask confirmation. You just type confirm, just delete, click on the delete again. So it deleted. Right. So in the future session, I'm repeating again, I will be showing you each and every option in Lambda with real life use cases. Right. That's all about Lambda for today's session. Please don't forget to subscribe my channel to get more technical videos. As I told you, every week we will be releasing new videos, AWS videos and other general videos also regarding DevOps and other technologies. Also, don't forget to like and share these videos.